Good morning to all of you. I welcome you all in day 2 of the workshop. I hope you all had a nice sleep. So day 1 we had one tutorial. We learned about the current scenarios and the importance of hydrolyzing proteins. Then we learned about two major protein hydrolysates. One was from the grain industry, soya protein, the other one from the dairy industry, whey protein. And then we had the tutorial for the same. Day 2 also will be having 2 lectures and 1 tutorial. Lecture 1 will be hydrolysates production and fundamentals. Lecture 2 will be on the enzyme selection, and then we'll be having a tutorial. So now I invite Dr. Manoj Kumar Rao to kindly come here and start with lecture 3.
Before that, you introduce Dr. Kafir, today faculty in charge for today's session. Okay.
So for today's session, the faculty in charge will be Dr. Rajiv Kumar Kapust. So please.
Now I invite Dr. Rao to take over the first session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Let me directly start with the activities. Thank you. A brief recap of what we have done. We have seen the current scenario, the challenges and opportunities, and we have discussed about the hydrolysates in the grain and sector with few exciting examples. I thought it must be working for you. Today we'll discuss about the hydrolysis production and fundamentals of hydrolysates, and then we'll move on to the next session followed by the tutorial. Okay, the various ways to hydrolyze protein. Since this topic is enzymatic hydrolysis, there's already other methods available for hydrolyzing protein. Then we have to justify why we have taken this path. This is hydrolysis. Okay, then we discuss about the brief scenario, enzymatic hydrolysis. Basically, the peptide production is taking place by using whether it's maybe plant-based enzyme or you can use any other source, microorganism or any other materials. So the key component is selection of raw materials, correct enzyme that's being used. Then these are the two components. Then you have to see design experiment, how you're positioning those things as the end product. In this journey, we are taking the degree of hydrolysis. We are talking about how this is being controlled in the real enzyme catalyst reaction. So you all have those fundamentals associated with that. Particularly, if you look at the downstream processing of protein hydrolysis, so this is a played method. This flow diagram is following up this slide. So you can say the method is either you can have a different filtration technologies, measuring from ion exchange chromatography or filtration, nanofiltration. I have shown different slides yesterday how the whey protein is being ultrafiltered and then how the whey protein hydrolysis is being produced. So these are the commonly used industrial practices depending upon your requirement, your end use. So that people use various. That's why these are summary of those industrial practice. So different. Then when you concentrate one Indian hydrolyzed product, it has bulk of water is there to be energy sustainable. So to how to dry out that water. So I was talking about in industrial case, soya protein isolate being precipitated out. Then you have less moisture content, around 25%. Then you can do a spray dryer or a drum dryer. Any dryer, so that is not energy intensive method. If you use a freeze dryer, which is most of the enzymes are susceptible to temperature, so they go through the freeze drying method. So in that case, you get agglomerated protein. Agglomeration means nowadays in the industry, well, if you disperse the whey protein will, those small particles, if you look at the hydrodynamic radius and the unit length scale, the protein will disintegrate because it's got instant dispersion. So instantized whey powder. So within a fraction of a second, the protein will break down and distribute like sugar putting in water. earlier we had solubility issue. So the way that has been done, how you do that, the particle size reduction, or how to achieve that end product. Because the challenge for the industry is to have a clear solution in whether it's a sports industry or in beverage or any of the product formulation. Solubility is the key here. So if your protein what you design is only soluble in some of the acidic or highly alkaline pH, it will be off flavor. It's not going to be accepted by the consumer, the end user. So you have to design in such a way that it doesn't precipitate out and doesn't taste separate. Then it doesn't take a lot of energy in drying process also. So these are key parameters. So considering the layout, it should be a good GMP, good manufacturing practice should be there. So the future trends. So in this concept was, you can see in 19th century, this technology has been continuously evolving. So then the big history line, that's basically people use sulfuric acid or any of the other proteins. And then the drawback of this technology is that you can see the glutamine aspartate and convert to glutamic acid and aspartate. It can break the protein, but that is have detrimental health effect. So potential carcinogen can produce. Yesterday we were talking about the frying capacity for acrylamide being produced. When you overheat it and recook it, so acrylamide is a potential carcinogen. You must be using polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, and then acrylamide. You know that you use gloves and then you get glutathione in that. So these are the things we have to take care of during the production and processing. So enzymatic hydrolysis protein means most of the enzymes that we are talking about here. The main advantage of these proteins, why you have selected the enzymatic hydrolysis, you have to justify them. So we saw that the drawback there, the other technology. Then to overcome that, you have to have a control mechanism where we can produce a peptide, short peptide, or some of the end products that is being hydrolyzed in a way you want to generate a dipeptide, tripeptide, or monopeptide. So you can have those control reactions by employing suitable enzyme. So we are discussing about enzymes that can be plant source, maybe from papaya or from papaya. You all know that, or bromelain from pineapple. So these two of the plant source origin, any other enzymes also you can use. So this is just classic example that we have been employing. You can design your own experiment in a large scale, then you produce those and then characterize it, do the functionality test, then you can position, create a new global product. The idea is to generate thus hydrolysis. We can have physicochemical properties being characterized and have enhanced functional properties in compared to the native protein or in the native configuration. But solubility was a big challenge. We discussed about the large molecular weight nature of the in the plant protein. Is the recurrent nature doesn't disintegrate easily and doesn't dissolve quickly. So enzymatic hydrolysis protein is the new trend coming up. Some of the formulation we discussed, they blended with some of the existing other products. So to have better functionality in that. So how to blend it is the question. 20%, 20%, or 10%. You have to look in the how diet chart is protein changing, how much is protein requirement by the body, what is recommended quantity of protein and cost are. So in that way you design those formulations, then you write that 25 gram of requirement from this will be dissolved, then you calculate your nutrient chart table. In that way this stuff, there is no hard and fast rule, but you have to study when you design that product, you should know those configurations. So the degree of hydrolysis we'll be talking about in detail when you do the tutorial session of that, how to set up the experiment. I will not go there, how to calculate the degree of hydrolysis or how to set up the enzyme kinetic study. And so we'll discuss in the tutorial. One example will be maybe papaya bromelain will be taking. We'll be discussing in that enzyme hydrolysis. The advantage is that the protein enzyme is significant. It's such as small amount enzyme that can easily deactivated after hydrolysis. Means when you do any enzymatic reaction, you immediately put in the liquid nitrogen or you put in ice slurry. So you stop the reaction there. Means the post-fertility cleavage doesn't occur. So you stop the reaction, inactivated it. So the disadvantage I will talk about debilitating. I will talk about I'll be talking about that. Means sequential hydrolysis is another way. So one cleavage, then followed by another cleaving. That way you can also optimize the condition of the waves. But initially we start with simple reaction. So you cleave the molecule, you produce a region hydrolyzed, you characterize it, then you understand that this property is working. Then you have a continuous flow method, and the enzyme is sequential cleaving. That's another way of doing the things. So this temperature and pH is mild condition. You are not exposing the molecule to harsh environment. I think day 4 we are talking about the micro environment effect. We will be studying about temperature, pH, anions, pollutions, and because food cannot be decided only one condition. This is a matrix itself. So protein is also when you formulating product is a different thing. This is an ingredient. We have to understand how the material behavior is happening, how this molecule is behaving under those micro environment, and so pH, temperature, pressure. So that way we can formulate better these products and use. So degree of hydrolysis we are talking about. This is amino acid, the amino nitrogen, total nitrogen. So this is a method that's particularly how to calculate that and correlate with our functionality. Then the how much the protein recovery is there in the process. This is the practical aspect. So you can see this is one of the equation, but I'm giving another equation, very simple equation. You can set up at your lab and do it. So you can hand practice there. So particularly, so we'll not go detail into this equation. You can have a look yourself and get back to me if you have any difficulties. So we'll discuss about the reduction in molecular weight. When you're cleaving the large molecule, so you're reducing the molecular weight. Size exclusion chromatography you'll be doing to get the small fragments. When you purify it, either you can do a sequential centrifugation, microfiltration, or this hydrolysis chromatography. And then your proteins, peptides will be characterized by either mass spectroscopy or mass spectroscopy linked to amino acid sequence. So you know that what sequence are going continuously. So this way you have a peptide characterization. So now the technology has come, you get the sample, and then you are already feeding that into a mass spec, so that gives your sequence also. We discussed about the dry is, you already know that now the industry is debating. So even the way it's coming, they are challenge for us that every dairy industry, they have big challenge how to dry out that water. So it's an energy intensive process. So in the industry, the basic practice is that they do isoelectric precipitation. Also, how they freeze dry this or the spray dry depending upon the mild condition. So idea is to get native protein. So native protein have better functionality. If you completely denature the protein will have already lost its significant structure. So viability of that in food application is no longer going to be the same compared to the native structure protein. So they have to design that. So this basically we are talking about you concentrate onto this much of moisture. So then drying the water will be easier than going through directly putting the water into the dryer. So post hydrolysis means I'll be coming about one of the disadvantages of enzyme hydrolysis is the producing a bitter peptide. You all know that in cheese, sometimes if you have mature cheese, there's aged cheese, there's 6 month or 1 year old cheese, you will be producing bitter peptide. So in that case, in this hydrolysis, you have a controlled condition of enzyme hydrolysis. At the same time, we are introducing some of the bitter peptides are going to be. So how to debitter that one also we'll discuss how industry practices are there. So how first you do inactivation, then ultrafiltration, specific enzyme hydrolysis activation. That is called the particularly this one, activated carbon in the reduction of bitterness. So otherwise you can do other methods are there. So this is completely different from the how acid hydrolysis or alkali hydrolysis is being taken place.
Use the mouse.
Okay. Hmm. So the flow diagram in this protein solution is suspension. It can have the acid or alkali pH adjustment or any of the enzymes we are using here. Then we are doing enzyme inactivation, we stop the reaction. Then post hydrolysis process. Then we are taking the spray dry, then hydrolysis produce. So in between, you are doing all sort of characterization. Like you are optimizing your condition. So we'll be talking about pH, pressure, temperature, all the physical parameters. We'll be talking about that.
So enzyme inactivation, can you elaborate on this enzyme inactivation?
This enzyme inactivation is basically either you drop the temperature or change the pH at this drop the temperature.
The enzyme which has been used for
So yesterday we were talking about the commonly used bacteria species for wheat gluten. So this is wheat gluten. It's a long molecule GIAN glutein. So this enzyme reaction is this. You can see the hydrolysis taking place here, degree of hydrolysis, and antigenicity is reducing. So we're talking about how to control this epitope of the antigenic epitopes. Gluten, wheat gluten. So this you can achieve that goal by doing hydrolysis. The products are already there. Of course, the proline is the main reason there in case of this enzyme hydrolysis here. So by this technology, gluten-free products are already there in the market. So people are paying premium price to buy this product. So in case of enzyme production, the enzymes that are being used in the this technology, people can also design those enzymes and produce sequentially those in this bioreactor here. So you can either source commercially available enzyme, or you can design. You talk to your colleagues and you can design this experiment and then produce enzyme in small those bioreactors in your fermentation term. So, this is degree of hydrolysis. Suppose we are increasing the degree of hydrolysis here, and then this means this is like a typical any enzymatic reaction we are seeing here. So you have to decide the optimum condition here threshold. We'll talk about 5 minutes, the time course reaction of that. Then you characterize that, and then you decide the yield and recovery of those products. So I will talk about how the degree of hydrolysis is correlated with the functionality in the latter part. So we have clarity on that, like hydrolysis being produced at 10 degree, a 10 minute time versus half an hour or 2 hours, how that behaves.
So bitterness, the intensity of bitterness increases when the size of peptides are larger.
Bigger.
But in the last figure, it was not clear. This, if you increase the degree of hydrolysis, the size of the peptide will get smaller. But bitterness is increasing. You see the y-axis.
Yeah.
Bitterness is increasing, but size is decreasing.
Yeah.
This is opposite what?
Means this bitterness, you can see if you go here, this is slightly dropping. This dropping means the margin.
Yeah, but at certain level, size is increasing, but hydrolysis is
Still going astray because hydrolysis is a kinetic driven reaction, the time course reaction. When the enzyme substrate complex is being formed, one more slide is coming there. So then you have to stop the reaction. So you have to optimize what time you have to stop the reaction. This reaction is being stopped there, so you got the best peptide. You have depleted that peptide. So you have to stop the reaction. So that is continuously because the enzyme has to be activated at that point in time. Yeah.
This bitterness property is because of size or because of composition of the peptides?
This is composition.
Composition. So can you elaborate what basically composition we are talking about?
And becoming, if we are having aspect is how that bitterness is coming in that what causes the bitterness of the peptides and which it depends on which molecule you are using, how much of amino acid is completion, bromelain is cleaving what. I'm coming to that. So if you look, we're talking about the plant protein. So this is one production. You can see oil seed is and the soya is legumes and they're here. So maize and the wheat, chunk of the cereals, rice and all. So you can see the one production is soya is basically you look at the bubble diagram. Major components still there compared to what industry is continuously using. So if you look at this the diagram is showing you have the correct raw material, any of the protein you got it. Then you have the correct solubilization procedure, then you get into solution. Then you can have go for the this is what I'm talking about this one. This is acid hydrolysis. You can go that pathway, you can come this pathway. So you can have selective enzymes. You can then control hydrolysis here. So that on that graph was showing the general graph. This is clarified here. So means you have to have several rounds. So you have to design in the way. So you have controlled hydrolysis here. So you have to understand how the hydrolysis is happening here. Then you terminate either you have to stop that reaction, you change the pH or anything. You have to design this here. Or increase the temperature or anything to inactivate it. That continuously industry is doing. So then you can filtration technology, any of the technology you can use. The pore filtration. Then you can have the product, the packaging, spray drying, the product. Yeah.
When we are talking about solution of the proteins, so what solvent we are particularly going to use in this? When we have raw material proteins, we solubilize the proteins. Now there is a question, as the proteins have a different type of composition. So they are using a particular solvent for that, or they have a formulation which solubilize all the type of proteins.
Basically, if you have like soy protein isolate, it's a water soluble. Water soluble. People like you have no acid, no alkali content there. So that way.
So means we are looking at first part of the section is because we are looking for the soluble proteins.
Yeah.
It's aquasoluble.
Most of the proteins are soluble in water, except membrane protein or something.
Yes, the plant protein is very difficult to solubilize. The whey protein, instantized whey protein, they are completely solubilized, 100% solubility. Because if you have that, it's called clear protein. If you Google it out, you'll find clear protein. There's a solution from using the whey protein in the formula. 4.6% protein is there. So if you use more than that concentration is another matter. If you increase the concentration, it will precipitate down. You stir it, then leave in the room temperature for half an hour, the protein will precipitate, sediment in the bottom. So if a person is buying a liquid diet, and then he takes home and keeps the store for 1 hour, it's precipitated out, so they're not going to take it. The product is discarded out. So how to increase the solubility of the protein by changing the surface modification. These are the way of protein modification. So that way we are doing also in the TVT, we are discussing hydrophobicity in surface modification, how the solubility can increase.
Can we partially denature the protein, then the solubility increase?
Yes.
Partially denature, the buffer or the whatever solvent it will move inside.
Yeah.
So the hydrophobic or hydrophilic protein, whatever it will be exposed to the solvent.
When you denature, denaturing the process is a continuous process. When you denature above the on-site temperature, the molecule tends to unfold. So you are not completely denaturing protein. You are not gone through the denaturation temperature. You just unfold it. Slightly unfold it. So they have better chance of interacting and expose the side, the buried side. So then the solubility will increase. So coming to gas molecule here, so you can see 4 sides here, type of filtration process, and then the solvent being used here. So this either microfiltration, ultrafiltration, nanofiltration, reverse osmosis, is continuously being used for different applications. It all depends upon how you design what is your end product. So there is no single prescription for common for everything. So every molecule is different. So you have to design in that way. So this is the enzymatic. You all know this. So it's a basic thing. I will not discuss more about this. So the enzymes, once this step 1 is substitute binds to the enzyme, then there's a catalyzed reaction, then the it's released there. So you all know this principle, how it's just a simple diagram. I will not discuss about that more. It's just for a test of our memory that I just put that. This reaction, you all know this thing, so I will not discuss more about this. So why this graph? Production and processing in bioactive peptide. Now we are completely switching from the peptide. We are using all the bioactive peptide because we have some industrial application here. We have selection of food or protein source, so we know that it can be plant, it can be any other source. We have dairy source. Then isolation is the key here. How you purify. Either you can take the plant protein by aqueous extraction method. We talk about buffer extraction, salt extraction. That's a globulin protein. Then enzymatic hydrolysis. When you have the inoculation of the enzyme taking place, then post hydrolysis processing, it can be chromatography, size distribution chromatography, any of these peptide fractions. Then when the purification goes, all this purification can be this term is purification way, so process. Then you get the pure peptide here. So these are the bioactive peptides. Then is there a question? Is this the only way to produce peptides? The answer is no, obviously, emphatically no, because the people have been using time routes and other methods. So you can see the food proteins come here. So you can say, since this can be processing way, you can go this way, or the another step we can go the other way, expression over solvent expression. So it all depends on how you are going to position your product, what industry you are targeting. The cosmetic industry, they are using different way because they have to have formulation. I can give one example: elastin and collagen, this protein. If you buy any product coming from France, they are using most of the, because skin tightening, they are using elastin. The peptides, the elastin, they use hydrolyzed elastin, and then it's very expensive. Those ones they use collagen. So then the hardness of skin will be there. So their application is completely different, but they have to hydrolyze the protein to get that. Then when you have the serum, they're using the serum, then there's a cosmetic industry. Then their formulations, they're using protein here. They're also using whey protein in the formulation. Their application is completely different. The food application is completely different. So what application you are using?
Sir, this collagen is I think alpha helix rich. That's a protein, no? Alpha helix rich. So you are telling that the instruction of peptide for collagen. So if it is a alpha helix rich protein, so the instruction will lead to unwinding. It will be like it will be into primary structure. The structure will be lost. And collagen is alpha helix rich.
Yeah. Elastin is very rigid protein, is that? Collagen comes from. Okay, I'll give very clear what is collagen means. You know, this is a white skin in front when in the chicken. The white skin, that is called collagen. Nothing. Okay, that's collagen. that will extract solvent extraction, which will do. That's pharmaceutical industry using. That collagen. Then that collagen, if you have a structure there, they just cleave it so that peptide will be going into the skin. It will size of the helix. Okay. So then it can be soft peptide. It goes smooth. There's no way because it contact with the skin. Then it will go when it exfoliate it, and then it's called moisturizing effect in that. So people are using this cosmetic industry that way.
It's very complex, but it is a helical helix. It's not simple helix. Helical helix.
Yeah.
In collagen. Two helix.
That's why it's very expensive in that way. I have sell 5 grams. Look at Sigma catalog online. 5 grams cost around $75. So coming about SPI ingredient, just so I put isolate. This is the most refined protein is functional protein in the soy category. The functional property can in water body capacity or viscosity, gelation, foaming, and emulsification. Then I'm talking about what viscosity example, gelation example, all these examples in the food application. So this, even though we are designing this, our output should be consumer driven, means sensory analysis perception should be there. This is another parameter here. If it is not palatable, the product is going to be outright rejected, any of the product. So we have to investigate that. When you formulate a product, then it goes through the sensory evaluation. You may do a hedonic test, any of these sensory analysis. I was thinking about doing a sensory practical exam, not exam, doing a hands-on experience sensory, designing one experiment, so we can go to the lab and then compare ourselves like a blindfolded hedonic test. So we can feel at the end that we have something practical we have done. Some product will directly source from market, and we'll put in some blind labels and we design our own experiment. At the end, we see, oh, this one is in that way. But I dropped that idea. Whether we can do it in that time frame or not. So it would have been better to have some product comparison. We are not comparing any product, but we are doing some experiment to feel how the experience is being done. So we are talking about gelatin. Basically, we are talking about yesterday. We discussed about how this the protein gelatin takes place. I'll be showing some of the scanning electron microscopic picture protein gels. How the biggest challenge is there for the industry is the solubility. This one I put in thermal stability of the and concentration forming the protein device. That's the biggest challenge. That's where the hydrolysis is coming. Taking place here. So you can see this summary of this peptides and the functionality. The protein derived bioactive peptides we designed already how we get the enzyme this is taking place for that. Then because improved functionality and digestibility, especially we talk about from the infant nutrition perspective, one example, and better test can be if you have to food as an ingredient. So I was talking with this how to overcome this one. So to minimize the sensory qualitative sensory effect is to the degree of hydrolysis. This is the you can look at any of the protein people have studied here. So you are using degree of hydrolysis in that range, roughly in that range. So you are not producing those amino acids which are going to give rise to bitterness in the end product. So that's the rough idea. So we will be seeing in our experiment what we will be doing in the tutorial discussion, how we are fitting into that. So it is ideal to have a low degree of hydrolysis, then optimize the condition, filtration process, then do a sensory analysis, and then do clinical studies. Even we do not have time to do a clinical study, it takes a long time, but we can do cell studies. Then we can say that this has some of the health benefits. Then we can do bioactives. Then we can design interpretation in the food or pharmaceutical industry or cosmetic industry. But it has to go through, this industry will only take once it has been clinically proven. So physiological characteristics commonly is maybe dipeptide or 2 to 9 amino acids. So hydrolysis can take the sequential catalysis. That's why we're talking about those already discussed at this point here. So I'm not touching more about that in this. So we come directly come to the application here. So since we are discussing about bioactive peptides, I think a couple of years ago, or 3 years ago, there's a Nobel Prize awarded for the blood pressure medication was developed in medicine 3 years ago, I guess so. So the mechanism is that even though we have anti-hypersensitive, anti-diabetic, anti-cancer, antioxidant, anti-obesity, and hydrocollosterol, so you can see a lot of property is there. So if we are getting used to this dietetic pattern, it's better to control in this way rather than taking medication. But doesn't mean that once we have been identified, we will not seek medical advice. Never. We have to go through that process once have been identified. So in that way, we can minimize this. So it's better to start from the very beginning. So that's why anybody can take this food. They are not hypoallergenic, and so we get used to this food system. So that way you can control the lifestyle uses. Anything we do here, so labeling in healthcare. So any product we come, we cannot write that this controls blood pressure or lowers blood pressure or this controls heart health. Earlier people used to write. Now the regulation has come. We cannot have healthcare in any of the products. So then coming to this protein concentration, how FDA Food and Drug Administration in US, how they define and approve this one. Say that at least 4.2% protein should be there to make it a high protein beverages. The same thing they have done. As Fadans, that's food standard Australia, they have the same condition there also. So in 90, so they said I was talking about Johanji asked the question how much protein we need. So 25 gram soy protein a day. So this is requirement, but you have to read the formulation of that product what you are going to use. Because they are using different combinations. The sharp wise you have to read. So they are recommending their dietary requirement in that. So, but these are the definition of the code. This code is very important. So we cannot position a product which doesn't comply with the code. So these are existing codes. So regulatory guidelines in India we have pesticide. So you have to see the code. FDA this is presence from Australia and New Zealand and EFSA from Europe. So these are the major codes. If you read all the codes, they are actually similar. The codes are similar, nothing different in that code. So very minor difference is there. So you examine the codes. So anything else? Thank you, and any question you can discuss.
So what about anti-resistant converting enzymes?
Sorry.
Anti-resistant converting enzymes.
Okay, it's particularly, I didn't discuss about the mechanism of those, that's why it's basically lowers down your blood pressure. So I was thinking of mentioning that each molecule, if I describe the way the pathways and then how it works, and long, when we talk about functionality of those peptides, the one section is there. So I'll be touching in the bullet points. In the booklet must be there.
So, although this should have been discussed earlier, apart from increasing the solubility, what are the other benefits provided by hydrolyzing the protein? So, could you please summarize that?
Particularly, when we hydrolyze, basically, if it's not soluble with the application, every application starts from that solubility. Whether you formulate for the gelation or the foaming, it starts because if you have protein is not dispersed, doesn't go into the system, so we don't get the desired end product and functionality. Solubility is the first point. So that's why the challenge is to overcome that one. It's like hydrolytic technology. Once we pass that hydrolytic technology, then we can formulate whether it's a cosmetic industry, pharmaceutical industry, or it's a food industry. Anyway, the formulation based on that. So that it can be aqueous environment, or cosmetic industry has different harsh and not harsh, other different environment. So that's the key idea of that. Other way of applying is that when you are heat treating it, so the molecule will be going to that. The processing has some heat treatment effect. Processing does that, so it should be stable in that way. So that means the structure is not really destroyed. So you have desired functionality.
Sir, when we talk about denaturation of proteins, well, it has to be heat stable.
Yeah.
But when it is a short peptide, then it doesn't have any tertiary structure. So it's already stable. It's a peptide is a more stable molecule.
Yeah.
Auto limit the peptide because the functionality it doesn't depend on the structure. Okay? The peptide depends on the sequence of peptide. So when it is denatured, then also it is going to function because it is a peptide, isn't it?
So I'm coming about that.
Yeah.
One slide I was showing what is denaturation in the application. Okay. I will come here egg. Okay. When egg are between the white one, we denature that one. So it's gelation is taking place. That's called gelation. The egg argument is a protein. It's a water soluble protein. So it's a heat denatured protein. Then Egg white is basically used in some of the bakery industry and confectionery industry. Most of the formulations produce the ingredients, they like egg, egg white. And then making cake in the we buy the cake, so you're saying, does it have egg or not? We're asking. So there's some, they will have the red white. Because it's very using as a stabilizing agent there, so it's like a killer molecule. So in that way, heat stability, the peptides are already been designed software, they have undergone the process and no one structure is changed. But to be bioavailable, it has to be in that format. But denaturation of protein means like soy protein you could denature and denaturation is also depends on what condition you are using. Suppose you take I will use DSC experiment. I think I have given soy glycine in the different scale. It's a moisture different formula, so it's a plasticity. If you have complete hydrolysis of protein and then you have different moisture, so like 5% moisture, 10% moisture, or 20% moisture, or complete soluble protein, then that's different glass condition, different denaturation temperature takes place. Because these are moisture dependent ones. So if you denature the protein, you is completely removing the structure out, breaking like so random interaction is there. So it means the protein is no longer in native configuration. So it lost its functionality. So but in case of any of the product application like whey protein, if you completely denature it, the denatured whey protein doesn't have matter. So then in the specification period, they said mild heat treated gas experiment is this, and this temperature denaturation below is native protein. So, so it means native protein have more functionality in comparison to denatured, but in food application, in processing, they have to go to the denaturation process. But the processing conditions are optimized in a way, so we do not go through that heat treatment. So the protein are already preserved in that and gives the functionality. That's why we modify design and all this. So we completely don't denature the protein. By don't doing denaturing the protein, but by using our modern method, we get those same functionality with using the native protein. But if you formulate with the native protein, pure protein, without that modification, you don't get the end product. I'm not confused.
Product means other
Different functions. I am not peptides. This is like if I have emulsification, gelation, and other things, it's a product application. Yesterday I was discussing about yogurt production. It's acid there basically. But the milk protein has to be 10 to 140 days. But if you look, you completely denature this thing, means to yourself like is reduced completely.
So there are two things. One is the peptide, and one is denatured protein. They are two separate form of taking the product.
Yeah.
One is peptide, active peptide.
Okay. I'll give one example. Share with that. You know shelf life in the store. Can you tell me what is the quickest way how they decide which how this product will be 6 months old, 5 weeks shelf life? How they study shelf life? Just quickly tell me. Tell me how they study shelf life. How do they write 4 weeks? I don't know. 7 months or anything. Anybody? 4 weeks, 5 weeks shelf life. Just to tell me.
Might be dependent on the moisture.
Denaturation of the product.
Okay, let me tell you. Suppose each product, this is called aging. Protein molecule is called like aging. If I take this protein molecule and boil at one temperature and then at one room temperature and I keep on doing the DSC study, same moisture, same temperature, 1 day, 2 day, 5 days, 6 days, my aging peak will increase.
That hydrolysis will increase. It get hydrolyzed.
No, it's not a hydrolysis. Aging peak. It's called as aging. I will be showing you the DSC. Means from that study, I can see the molecule is being aged.
Yes.
So if you compare with a native protein versus denatured protein, I'm answering now. Aging, denatured protein is quicker than in compared to the native protein. Means if I formulate with a denatured protein, my product, my shelf life will be 1/3, 1/4. Okay. So now because the industry is spending the same money and it has less window to sell it out. So by they're using in the formulation. So denatured protein have less It's ages quicker than compared to native protein. So yeah, so that way,
This is one product. Another product is your peptide.
yeah.
So, how the peptides are reserved and sold? There is no, we don't have to bother about peptide to preserve because they are already stable.
They're stable.
They are stable.
Yeah, because they're stable, but still in that formula, if you have 100% functionality, the peptides has to go through the previous process, but you cannot say that this is 5 years. If you like sigma level, you see, they say store at 2 degree, 4 degree, but they give a time, you use before by that, with the sigma. The rest company is telling like this. These are peptides they're selling. You might have seen the highest terms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Functionality of the peptides, you are saying that because they have a particular sample. So my simple question is that the functionality of the peptides, because you are talking about 9 amino acid that is size of peptide. So is because of structure, because of the composition.
It's that amino acid small ones. That you are cutting. Okay, people are cutting, making a bread. This is the best example. Now they are working now. I'll give some snacks like some crackers. People can, if that is the molecule I want, can I spray that molecule into that snack? Then I get my peptide I got for my peptide every day. People are working now to develop that product now. This is the latest thing I just said that they take in spray with that, so everybody can eat that way. So they're making easier things now.
Are there any reports how these peptides are taken up at the cellular level? Has anybody reported that? Like if we are applying on a skin or we are consuming it. So how does cell uptake those peptides?
I think there must be some cell study, but I have to look exactly the mechanism differentiating. If you I have seen some work, but I can email you or give you your ID after the talk. So when I go back, then I have to email you. So in that study.
Hydrolysates is also a peptide.
Yeah, yes.
Hydrolysates is also a peptide. It acts against pathogens. It kills the pathogen. So other peptides might be having similar function. How
Yes.
the way other peptides work, like hydrolysin, neosane, and
Yes.
same way. In the slide, I have shown another method of purification, different method of purification. One way was through recombinant DNA technology. If we know the sequence of peptide and we can back transcribe into gene sequence, we can clone all those peptide composition of the peptide. We know the composition of peptide, so we know the gene composition. So if we clone all the peptide, all the gene for this peptide, and we can produce separately, and we can formulate it. So we can skip and we can this process we can scale up. And at fermented scale we can do that. And we can skip the process of ultrafiltration and other steps which are very costly.
Expensive.
Very expensive ultrafiltration always. So is it currently people are doing that?
People are doing that. Like there's a peptide synthesizers and other
synthesizers.
Then that's come back to that overexpressing it and
So we can change the sequence length and we can play with that and we can find out the optimum base peptide, which works as a bioactive molecule.
That can be done. Any more questions?
So we have 15 minutes more for any more decisions.
Let us discuss
So since there's some time, one thing is more that needs to be, I don't know if it's coming up in the following slides or not, but regarding the raw material that, so you said that we will look for the cheapest raw material. So can you throw some light on that, like what are the potential raw materials which are available like in an Indian scenario that
Yeah.
could be used for producing the hydrolysates?
Soybean is very cheaply available here. So I sold one bubble diagram like cereal oil, seeds and other products. It's a cheap source of protein now, and alternate source, viable alternative plant animal protein or any other protein. So the an industrial way that is coming out is just explain residue. So where it's coming out from the tech industry, tech manufacturing industry. So we have to discuss how we are going to do that and evaluate those products. So that's another way of safe source. It's a way like trash to cash. Is the word that the thing. And then industrial howling, the pollution will be also controlled. Whatever discharges will be mentioned. So that way, these are the taking out the goodies out of those financial processes.
Could you also suggest some microbial sources like we have this insoluble source like the single cell proteins. So how do you regard these as the sources of the protein, the micronutrients?
Yes, that's the main, that's coming now. So algal protein is a big way, very big way now coming now, people are working on that. So another way looking into that, taking algal protein and then going to the same protocol again. So another way actually doing the algal protein or any other source of possible protein source. So that can be applied. Okay, from this row, anything in this question?
Okay, let's just go.
Yeah.
They can ask. Message guys.
So downstream processing,
Yeah, downstream process. She is talking about downstream.
using purification.
Downstream.
So when talking about way, means how then you optimize those conditions, then you go through that process I will discuss in one of the slide here. So how you go through that, so you have to design the way you want to do. What kind of methodology you are following. It's economically viable those areas. So there is no prescription for that. But we have to discuss what alternative we have in that. So industrially relevant like spirulina, that's about. People now blend it, spirulina and whey protein. Just products there. They like whey protein being blended into spirulina. Then other protein is that like flaxseed and other things. People have tried new sources. Flaxseed is basically omega-3, 6 and other things is there. They are adding protein into some of the oils that have right? Omega-3 is there. For vegetarian diet, they are putting those things.
So I would like to say something on this one. So, myself. So here,
Okay, thank you.
so I think there is some confusion regarding, I think some of them have really got it. But for majority still the clarity of what exactly is a protein dehydration step and how it's different from protein hydrolysis is not quite clear because they come from different backgrounds. So what I feel.
Okay, I'll talk about it. Maybe I switch on that slide now.
And secondly, because in the future part we're talking about applications and functionality of these proteins. When we talk about gelation, as the last what exactly is happening with the functionality of a protein. The gelation, emulsification, and all this process. If you can just brief about as to what exactly the normal protein does in these processes and how a protein hydrolysate is going to be doing it differently or probably in a better way than the normal protein, then a clarity of the situation will probably come in.
Okay. Protein denaturation means what? I'll be talking about those in the cell. I think day 4, I kept it differently when you come to material characterization. I am talking about denaturation, conformational changes. You must have looked. Please open your book and give me, and then I can go through that. I will say everybody will have a look.
Please open, I'll say which page, and we can discuss that. Okay. Please go to 185. Page number 185. Okay. Okay, everybody has 185. We are looking at page 185. Everybody has that. Okay, this is one of the classic example of we discuss about the proteins. It is written DSC fast full scan to localize the thermal effects. So I have not done anything, any modification to the protein which has been purified to 97% purity. Okay, to nearly homogeneous. Other things there will be always fiber and other things. Any protein you take, you read anything coming from sigma or anything. Okay, so you read, look at the first top one, the graph, 0.5% moisture. Any protein, if you have taken roughly 6% moisture will be there, because glass transition temperature is moisture dependent. So you have to know the moisture content of the molecule. So this is a plasticizer. So if you look, the first peak which the arrow indicates is a stress relaxation phase. Means if you look at it, you are scanning from -20 here. I'm degree. If you look at the x-axis, I'm scanning from -20. Nearly around 40 to 50 degree. I have a peak there. It's known as aging peak. Means it's called as thermal history of the molecule. So when I heat it, it tends to relax. The molecule relax. So and we can see this molecule is moisture independent. Means even though I have gone up to 27% moisture, the molecule is still as relaxed as that. Means the thermal history is still there. What happened? Next step is the glass transition. You can see there is an inflection point. Then at the end, if you look at the 160 and something like that, 160 something, the protein denatures endotherm. So endothermic peak means an exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction. In the practical, we will discuss what is exotherm and endotherm. So protein denaturation means you can see endothermic reaction. If the peak is at 160, now if you increase that's called denaturation. So denaturation point means once you hold at for 160 heated above 160, then you are denaturing protein. Are we cooking at 160 degree any molecule at home? Any industry doing? No. So we have to know that thermal history of that molecule. But some molecules, if the high temperature, microwaving, which you are exposing that molecule. Okay, that point I'm giving example. So, suppose somebody is doing bakery industry or you are making 175 degrees, we lost that property already. Okay, so giving example. That molecule is already there. You see that is moisture dependent. If you look at 26, that molecule that peak shifts to 120. There's a 40 degree difference. Means same molecule being plasticized. Means there's a reduction of denaturation temperature. And what is happening to the stress relaxation aging peak is at the same point. Go to the next. Please look at the left hand side. Left hand side is the just 184. You look at that molecule here. This is the second scan. Same molecule, same RON. I have done here. Same RON has gone. I'm showing you same RON, everything same molecule. Then you scan back. Then we will be discussing how to design those experiments. You can easily see 5.5% the stress relaxation peaks has been gone, removed, because you erase the thermal history. You remove the thermal history. This is a new molecule. This molecule has been, thermal history has been erased. So there is no aging peak here. Okay, it's called DH. So you remove that. Then there is an inflection point. This is around, look at 60 to 80. Because glass condition is very difficult to measure. Very few people do this. Do this experiment. So it's a big, large window. It's like 20 degree window. So how to measure that glass condition properties? So you can see that the third peak is being depressed. It's coming lowering When you increase in the moisture, there is a lowering of denaturation temperature. At the glass transition temperature, we have to look at the table here. Yeah. Which table we have to look? I will tell you. Okay, please go to 190. 190, page 90. Okay, this work we published in Biomaterial Molecules. So 10 years ago. So this one. So what happens? You look at the table here. Moisture content 4.6%. Tmax is almost slightly decreasing with the moisture increasing. Can't measure the Tmax going down. Then thermal denaturation temperature. You see, when you increase the moisture, then the denaturation temperature is being decreased. Okay, you can see that the edging phase, relaxation phase. Now you can see the denaturation and the peak. So now are you clear now? Okay, everybody? Okay. That's why I was trying to not duplicate things, but it is a very complicated actual thing. Not showing a graph, then telling about something. Usually I don't do that way. You have to show this picture and table, then you can explain it. Since I was talking, we were discussing thermal properties, molecular environment speed, the material properties, another session. If I repeat those things here, then again repeat back. Doesn't make any sense. Then I will indicating we will be discussing that. So I have to refer to this. Everybody is clear now? Madam, is it okay now?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Your question about difference between denaturation and
Hydrolysates.
hydrolysis.
Hydrolysates. Exactly.
Two different. Yeah.
Two different concepts altogether.
Denaturation means it can be acid treated denaturation, alkali treated denaturation, or heat treated denaturation. So you are heating in the DSC here. This is being denatured, the protein is denatured in harsh environment. And enzyme hydrolysis means you are using some of the enzyme to cleave the peptide bonds. That's the difference.
Briefly, we can say that denaturation is distorting the structure.
Yeah.
Structure.
So,
Distorting the inorganic structure, tertiary structure or primary structure to secondary or primary. You have the text. And hydrolysis means cleaving. Simple. It's a cleaving of peptide structure.
The very introduction, I put one slide, big molecule peptide, and then using hydrolysis chopping up small peptides. So that's also in the introduction in the scenario.
With this, we come to the end of the first session. Now we shall all be proceeding for high tea, and we'll reassemble here at 11:30 for lecture 2. So now I request all of you to proceed for high tea. It is arranged in the room next to this seminar hall as we did yesterday. So enjoy the
Thank you.
Thank you.